My name is Mitz, and here we are back with Phoenix Wright Conflict Interest. So, as a cool little, sub-little point for you of last time, the killer's not involved in this case at all. That calling card of it was a fake. We don't even know if it was planted by whoever the mobster was, the true killer, or was just Obadia just messing with us once again. Like, honestly, I don't think Obadia did it, but at the same time, he just led Phoenix on this whole time with that card, and again, I'm supposed to sympathize with him more and more. Like, oh my god. Oh, and now we're going through this guy's testimony, which honestly I still like him as a character. The concept is really good, and we have Apollo's bracelet without Apollo. Man, this game likes to shaft Apollo this whole time, right? You only see him like once in person, talk to him once indirectly online, the interwebs, and that's it. Nothing else to do here. God, I love his character in the actual Apollo Justice game, and I wanted to see like how they do that the character justice, but pun intended, but I guess it's not meant to be. I still have my grades with it, but I'll push that off to the side right now. So you can use this bracelet anytime, but all the bracelet statements seem to be completely grayed out, so I'm assuming we have to press everything first. Okay, I was inside that night with me daughter. Oh, you're doing all the pressing. Okay, what exactly were you up to? Up to? Now there's a nasty accusation. We were just doing what anybody does in their evening. Just having a meal and getting ready for the night. We weren't doing nothing wrong or up to anything as you put it. Well, guess what? Eating food and going to sleep is the most dastardly thing to do. I never would have left if it weren't for the hearing the people outside. I don't see anything strange yet. I better keep looking. So like, wait. So the path to the woods is like right next to your house? I guess that would make sense. But like, I got this distinct impression it was coming from, like, farther away from your house though. There's those footprints in the front of the two houses. I heard some people talking in the woods and thought it was odd. What's so weird about that? We don't get many people in our area. It's so off the beaten path that it always startles me when there are visitors. One voice, the other two, I don't know. It's not to perk me interests. You know who me neighbor is, so we get a bit on edge when strange folks are poking about. That's all it was, really. Just me being cautious. And that's why I went outside to see who they were. I went to check. I heard two people next to a bush. They were two men. I don't know why it's humorous to me. That's an interesting way to say it. You heard them by the bush? Yeah, maybe that was just how amusing it sounded. Did indeed. Their voices are burned into my memory, since it was about all I could tell of them. Would you say either of their voices were distinct? I could tell them apart, rather well too. Couldn't put me finger on it at the time. The thing about those two trapped me by the bush just set off alarms for me. Okay. Wait, you're lying about this? That was it. That was his nervous twitch. I just had to show him the bracelet and find it. Hey, you look at this bracelet. You see this? You see it rotating all weirdly like that? Hypnotize. And when I went to check, I heard two people next to a bush. They were two men. Okay, so let's try this. Noise. So I'm guessing the twitch would definitely be his fingers, right? Maybe around like set off alarm bells. When he went to check, I heard two people next to a bush. They were two men. Huh? Let's see if I guess we keep looking. Okay, so it's not that finger. Maybe the thumb actually. There's the fingers. Well, that's the eyes, I mean. So how about the thumb then? So it could either be the thumb, it has to be either the thumb or eyes. The other hand is too far off. No, definitely not that. Has to be some nervous tick. Okay, definitely the eyes then. He's looking back and forth rapidly. I heard 2 people next to a bush. Oh, okay, that's different. Mr. Hood, throughout your whole testimony, your eyes have been darting back and forth. It seemed like you weren't sure. Did I? Well, me last, you can't ever be 100% certain. It was mighty dark, it was. I can hardly see me hand in front of me face. That's funny. There was one point where your eyes weren't shifty. You mentioned the 2 men. Aye? When you said that, you looked directly at the defense bench. Right at me. I suppose I was. Didn't even notice till you just pointed it out. I don't see what it means. Why do you think I'd be staring at you? Doesn't mean nothing? I think it does. You were reconsidering something. You were staring because... I remind you of somebody you've seen before. You're a creep. No, I want to see that. I want to see that. Okay, save. You're a creep. Mr. Hood, you're a dirty old man. Yeah. I deny it. You're staring at me, you pervert. Keep your eyes off. It seems this child. I fail to see why you call me. Okay, that's not funny enough. It has nothing to do with the murder. Oh, I know. I just wanted to get that out of there. Okay, just get that little accusation out. Try and stand a check, please. I didn't come here to take accusations so low as that. I just wanted to see what that was. It reminds you of somebody. You saw me and had to stop to think because I remind you of the people you saw. You reminded me? How so? Well, because I'm a girl. Aye, you are? Didn't I say that they were both men? That's right. But what if one wasn't? That sounds a little silly now, doesn't it? How could I confuse a grown man for a teenage girl? Unless you're lying! You said it was dark, so dark you could barely see in front of you. The rest of your testimony focused on the sounds you heard. If you couldn't see so well, how would I know who it was? By your voice, of course. If you couldn't see them, you could hear them. You weren't sure you really saw 2 men and had to reassure yourself by looking over at me. Think so, do ye? Okay, honestly, okay, that's actually a good way to like draw conclusions from it. What makes you so sure it were a woman's voice I heard? Well, it's a 50-50 shot. I can't think of any other reason you're staring at me while talking about her. So sure, are ye? But yes, you're right. It's a 50-50, isn't it? Maybe you're correct, Miss Trucy. I'll unchain you on that. I'd say I could tell from a man's voice from a girl's, but perhaps not. When you get down to it, it doesn't change a thing. Not sure I 100% agree with your police work there, Mr. Hood. Hey? If one person was a woman, it changes a lot. You know what? I think so too. Because if, like, Virgil Black was the other guy there, and it's a woman, that means the woman had to be the culprit then. I like your daughter's theory that it was a woman. I'll change my statement to that. You don't believe they were both men? Could be. Might not have been. I couldn't say just based on one voice I briefly heard over a month ago. Miss Trucy did notice me eyes wandering. Could be I thought it subconsciously. But well, who say we're a woman, alright? I'm not afraid to take that chance. Let's see where her idea leads, shall we? Thank you, Trucy. I'll take it from here. Glad to help. Please don't tell me that's the only time we're gonna use the bracelet. Please. My god. Voice in the woods. Are we starting from the very beginning? I was inside that night with my daughter. I heard some people. When I went to check, I heard 2 people next to a bush, a man and a woman. Okay, that's something new, so preso mundo. Did you recognize either of them? Nay. Thought I said that. The man? No. The woman? Don't rightfully know. Never seen him before, eh? Not that I could see well anyway. We can assume who both were. The killer and victim. The killer and victim? Aha! Got you, Mr. Hood. So, unless Yossarian is, trans, I don't think this is gonna work too well. I don't think it's gonna work. A man and a woman. Well, can we present him, either, I think we'll just present his profile for time being. First, say, because, Mr. Sarian right now isn't a woman, per se, so... You know the thing about suspect and victim? They were both men. It would seem so. Yet you've just labeled one of them as female. Something's not lining up. Ah, I see. That's a contradiction right there, it is. That creepy grin has to be him saying, "You just activated my trap card, Yugi. And you got played into the heart of the cars." Now remember, me memories are not so clear. Miss Tracy says one suspect might have been a woman. And she's right, 50% chance. If we do believe one was a woman, we'd assume the men are the two who were the victim, eh? Only logical. The man was the one found buried, so yes. Aye, and who does that leave us? The killer? The defendant is not a woman. Not even close. No, he isn't, is he? Look at it like that, and it must be someone else. To recall, the police think the same person killed the two people. What was that? The two bodies were hidden together. Not definitive, but it makes sense. Too much coincidence otherwise. Aye, it must be someone who knew about both murders. That's the only thing you can think of. That's the only thing you can deduce from that, so... Yes, that would make sense. I told him that in his house. Guessing I told him to make this argument. So let's look backwards, eh? Instead of asking who knew about Guildenstern, we should look at anybody who might be linked to your Rosencrantz. Seems to me someone with him must be the one. Both murders. Rosencrantz? Oh no. Wait, are you going with Gladys Porter? I was thinking about that in my head, about who the woman would be. I mean, what was it? How many, like... Well, Maya and Pearls are obviously not here. Gladys Porter... well, the only other girl, like, that's involved is, your kid... Could it be, actually? You were looking at Trucy, so subconsciously... You know, it could be her. It honestly could be her, thinking about it now more and more. See it, do you? Who's the woman involved with the Rosencrantz murder, then? Only one. Well, your daughter is there, too, and I could see why you don't want to bring her up, so Hey! Miss Porter didn't kill anyone. She did lie about the crime. Couldn't she be covering for herself? Seems suspicious to me, Your Honor. I know me neighbor and Mr. Jameson are female. Wait, how do you know Mr. Jameson is not female? Wait, have you, like, met him before? Or... You're just accusing her because she's a woman? That makes no sense. Not because she's a woman, Mr. Wright. Because she's a woman who witnessed and lied about Mr. Jameson's death. If you can put out another lass who was around for that, I'll concede. But there wasn't. She's the only one. Then it must be her. You're the one who said I saw a woman. I'm just following the logical path. If you back down, if you back down and decide that we're a man after all, I'll stop going for Miss Porter. Stop this at once. Yeah, I can. He's just playing games with us. The prosecution's case is against the defendant and no one else. Oh, it could still be him. Doesn't matter to me who we chose to pursue. So, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Did I or didn't I hear two men? If I say no, Yuki's going for Miss Porter. I know she didn't do it. If I say yes, then Miss Porter's clear, but Mr. Yossarian is the only suspect. I'm back where I started, and Francisco won't let Hood continue after this. The only way for me to avoid a dead end is to play along. Well, Mr. Hood, I'm inclined to say no. What? You know I won't let you end the trial yet. I had to present it somehow. You could save yourself a whole lot of trouble. Just say he's the killer and it's over. Not gonna happen. Then I'm not giving up either. You! How dare you! Your Honor, silence in this instant! Overruled. The witness may speak. We have a new suspect in addition to our first. The suspicious woman with Guildenstern complicates everything. Especially after how Miss Porter led us on another day. Everything I told him is coming back, using it all against me. Think about that. It might actually work in your favor. He might be playing this all on the fly. He's done a pretty good job if he's just improvising. So far. But you don't believe Miss Porter's the killer, do you? After what she told us in the detention center. There's no way it was her. And maybe finally have somebody worth defending. I have to keep pressing this man until he folds. He's trying to get her for some reason. Somebody to defend. I can work with that. She's not here to see it. I won't ignore this accusation. I can't. Your Honor, it couldn't be Gladys Porter. Stubborn boy. Don't let Miss Porter distract you from the real goal. You're not in this for her. I'll defend whoever needs defending. Right now, that's her. You say Miss Porter had to kill Black and Jameson? Well, she lacks something very important for both. A motive. The running theory is that both incidents are connected to the Revali's family. A good deal of evidence so far seems to indicate that's true. Personally, I'm inclined to agree with the prosecution that much. I see. But how does that concern Glass Porter? Well, I can think. Okay, trying to think ahead before the game says it out loud. Literally, she has no, I guess, like, grudge against Virgil Black, unless, like, he wanted to kill her, which doesn't make too much sense if, like, you know, Virgil Jones, like, meet up to talk to her. So, like, if Alan Yossarian is, like, another mobster, like, I guess they're talking, like, about it outside his house, so that's true. So, like, it wouldn't make sense to kill him right there, especially since, you know, she pointedly says, like, she hates Alan Yossarian because of the whole mobster thing, Riley's family. And for the other one, why kill Jameson if they've been working together, like, ever since, like, before the, you know, Pro-Fay murder? She would never side with her Valley's family, not even if her life depended on it. So, where is it? Also proof. Wait, where is it? Oh, it's the hit list. It's in there. They were responsible for her sister's death. She's devoted to stopping them. Another vigilante? Don't we have enough of those already? Not exactly. Are you certain of this? Acid to the waters. Her sister happened to be his late wife. Ha! Take that, Finnegan Hood, you fool! We're just ganging up on him now. The killer couldn't possibly be her. It was a suspect. I'm the fool, am I? At least I'm not relying on my circumstantial motives to support myself. Is there really solid proof of this being their values clan? I have a calling card and a letter. Oh, and I suppose they were found beside the victim? The family admit to it all? Forgive me if I'm wrong, and please do correct me. No. Oh, he's pulling out this car. We found both in a safe in the house, which makes sense because Alan Yossarian is a mobster. It's just basically almost the same thing as planting evidence, almost. It's literally, he already has it, so, like, it doesn't mean the Riley's family is involved at all, though. Of course not. They'd only be put the car up for a public murder. The way the body was buried, you know the killer wanted to hide it. I'm no betting man, but I wager good money the car was found with me neighbor. Yes, they were in his home. Ah, then no one can definitively say they were the culprits. You'd have to do better than that, ma'am. No one could say Miss Porter didn't have a motive, can they? What about the shovel? We don't have her fingerprints. How would she get that? Well, now, I don't believe you'd be asking that if you had anybody's prints with the suspects. Tell me now, do ye? No, just his. They could use that exact same argument for any possible killer who isn't me neighbor. If he seems innocent, somebody must have broken into his home, stole the shovel, and planted it. Why? To frame him, I presume. Committing perjury during his trial? Sounds like a grudge, yes sir. You're so confident just because you might have seen a woman? It weren't me who thought up the idea. You've got two suspects, lad. Me neighbor and Porter. Somebody's a murderer. Somebody has to answer for it all. An accusation worth looking into. You back this up apart from mere speculation? If you want me to extrapolate, I'll gladly oblige. Francisco wants Mr. Yossarian guilty. Hood's aiming for an entirely different person. I'm defending them both. Are all the cards on the table yet? He's definitely defending his daughter. But, like, why concede to the point that Emma is a woman the very beginning, actually? What other reason do you have to hate her, actually? What grudge do you have? Now, I didn't know neither the killer nor victim, but logic says who they were. I heard their voices earlier and went to check who was out in the woods. They were right at the spot where the body was found. Prosecution says both cases are connected, so Rosenkrantz' killers must have been there. Among suspect, victim, and witness, Porter's your only woman. It has to be her. Just reiteration of what we already know. I see. The prosecution did explain that two cases must be connected. It would only be natural to have the same suspect. Miss Porter was never accused of anything more than perjury. Why not? People don't lie to court unless they get something bad. Did you ever think her motives may have been less than noble? I'm just realizing, what even voice am I giving him? I just came with just this unique voice. I don't even know what this even is, what accent this is. I don't even know accents, so I'm completely blind to this, but I'm having fun voicing him. How does the prosecution respond? This is ridiculous! Glass Porter's not the one on trial. I'm sure you've seen your share of witnesses found to be the culprit. That is true. We won't know until we delve further. Does Miss Porter have an alibi for the Goldenstern murder? I'm not sure. We only just got his autopsy completed. Bailiff, please contact Detective Waters and have him bring her here. We may need her. Right away, Your Honor. Now, let's continue with the witness's statement. This is absurd! Examine our language, prosecutor. It's the only way to be certain. Defense, it seems, wants to consider a female culprit. But not Miss Porter. You changed the circumstances and now I'm showing you where it leads. I'll give up on it when you do. God, think of it. It didn't matter if he saw a man or a woman. If it wasn't Miss Porter, he might be accusing Mr. Sarin or anyone else. Oh, he's trying to plan on anyone besides his daughter then. He's really just going down this road and just leading everyone on to make it think it's their idea then. Is he playing this as he goes, or is there a bigger plan? And why is he doing it? I guess the world may never know. How many licks does it take to get to Senator Tootsie Pop? Let's not find out. No, I didn't know neither the killer nor victim, but logic says who they were. Logically, maybe. Speculatively, yes, though. Refresh memory, then. How did you come to this conclusion? Well, me friend, there's only so many suspects it could be. I saw two people what's later at a murder scene. We can only assume that they'd be black in this killer. The murderer must be connected to the more recent case. The murderer, that is, if she were female, must be Gladys Porter. Are you satisfied? A little, but why don't we talk some more about the victim, the killer, the witness. Well, I guess we're gonna do all three, but like witness? I thought you only saw two people there though. The witness, you. Let's hear about what you saw and how you saw it. Well, if it behooves ye, alright. I witnessed it all from a safe distance away. Don't recognize either of them. Where were you standing? Should be map and I'll point it right out. Among the three trees here, off the side of the trail. Those are where Miss Porter said she hid. Was she? This was a decent hiding spot. Miss Porter followed the victim there. How would you end up in the middle of the forest? The situation may have been a mite similar. I heard the voices in the woods and went to check. Just followed the trail until they got there. You heard them from your home? Those woods are very quiet. With the window open, you can hear anything. Anything, huh? You can hear anything? Even strangulation? Witness said, oh, I didn't recognize either of them. Okay, so let's look at the other ones then and see if there's anything new. Anything noteworthy. So, how about the victim then? If since we're focusing pretty much on who the killer is, Gladys Porter or Yossarian, what the victim itself? The victim. Let's hear you arrived to that specific conclusion. Well, if it behooves ye, right? The victim, your Guildenstern, were Virgil Black as the late prosecutor stated. Could you describe the man you saw then? He was a big one, alright? Kind of funny looking. Excuse me. Not much else I could say. Can't recall if you were the same one I found while digging the hole. It was mighty dark, and so I couldn't make out too many details. You're not doing a very good job of proving your point. Sorry. Do you know what Virgil Black looked like? Don't watch too much news, so no. But I'd say if he's the man I found, he'd look like that. Wish I could tell you more, really I do. There's no arguing that Mr. Black was buried there. But can we be sure that Mr. Hood ever saw him alive? He could have been dead for a while for all we know. So, how about the... okay. Unless there's a question thingy for almost every statement, then oh boy. We assume... okay. Don't think there's anything noteworthy. The killer. Let's hear how you arrived at this conclusion. We're just pressing and pressing for information, trying to see where he slips up in his own, because he's doing this all on the fly of what little information we gave to him yesterday. So he's definitely not going to be in the loop on definitely a lot of things. So, like, since we're dealing with a new, murder itself, he's definitely not going to know anything about the current one unless he saw it firsthand. So anything he doesn't know, we can catch him out on. We definitely didn't spring up anything about the Guildenstern murder, last trial, so he couldn't glean anything from that if he was in the trial, too. Behooves he? Alright. The killer would be Gladys Porter, of course, who was the other murder as well. You're just going after her because she witnessed the other crime? She was there, lad. She must be considered a suspect. And she committed perjury too? Mighty suspicious if you ask me. We have a mountain of evidence against the defendant. He's guilty no matter if she lied or not. Miss, I believe you need me here because you don't have any evidence for Goldenstern. You don't know your man killed Virgil Black, correct? Ridiculous! You can't connect her to the crime. She's linked with Rosencrantz. By your own logic, the murderers had the same culprit, so she must be suspected. Really, ma'am. How often have I got to say it? Why, you... Miss Von Karma? Please, no need to be so angsty. The logic holds, perhaps we better continue to the next point. The voices earlier and wanted to check out who was in the woods. So I don't think there's anything in... I can't think there's anything to think through for those three. Do you investigate every sound you hear outside? I would if it's a voice I don't recognize. Not many people come to my area, you know? It's not paranoia, just being sure there's no trouble. Trouble afoot. You saw them speaking and left almost right away. Then the next day you came back. Why? They gave me a bad feeling. I knew something was a brewing between the two. I wanted to know why they'd been there, but only after they'd left. Didn't want to get involved and just make it worse. You did all that based on a hunch. Well, a bloke died, so it looks like my intuition was correct. You're curious enough to come back and dig a body. That means you definitely heard what they're talking about then. Must have been a really strong bad feeling. That's all it was. They were right at the spot where the body was found. Behind the bush? What were they discussing? Oh, I couldn't say. I couldn't hear none of it. But you saw their silhouettes. Can you tell anything from their body language? Both man and woman were standing around the bush. I figured the man was trying to be intimidating and the like. He was shouting a bit, but I couldn't make it out. Truth be told, I was more worried for her than him. The lady wasn't phased none. Shouting. Intimidating. Mr. Black must have been pretty wound up. That's odd. What happened next? I went to step in when I got the sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. Knew I had to bolt right out of there or none of this might have lived. All of you? I just felt bad. Real bad. Like intervening would get me and the lady killed. And the man did die, didn't he? That sounds very frightening. Virgil Black was a serial killer. I don't see him massacring innocent people for no reason. This doesn't sound like Sir Galante at all. Well, he had a small streak where he was to let his friend, like, who was accused of murder, like, go to jail for it. So, there's that. And he also threatened you, Phoenix. So, there's that. Prosecution says both cases are connected to the Rosencrantz killers must have been there. Are we starting to have to be the same killer? We've covered this already. The chances of somebody else unknowingly stumbled across Black are slim. Slim, but not the question. What about Mr. Hood? He knew where the body was. Aye, it so happens I've got a nice little alibi. I never go wandering these woods for no good reason. I was with my daughter the whole time. Don't forget I lived there. The odds are heavily in my favor. 1,000,000,000, I'd say. Never tell me the odds, Francisca. The burden of proof is on you to prove they're not linked. It makes too much sense otherwise. It had to be the same killer, and as you see, among suspect, victim, and witness, Porter's your only woman. It has to be her. There's not much to work with. You gave in pretty easily in that earlier. Are you sure the person you saw was female? Maybe. But if not, that takes us back to square one, don't it? Square one? If it's a woman, he accuses Miss Porter. If it's a man, it means her client killed both victims. Yeah, that sounds very good. Hey, nasty little Morton's fork for ye? Oh my god. What are you so worked up for Miss Porter for? She's not your client, me friend. Just give up on her. Defending one person is no good if innocent people still get put away. I'm not gonna let you accuse Miss Porter. Mr. Bernard? Say the same. What are you trying to do? It's pretty clear what it is he's trying to do at this point, but it's another fact entirely trying to prove otherwise. Now, I didn't know neither the killer nor the victim, but logic says who they were. Refresh my memory, how do you come to this conclusion? Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, so how exactly do you prove it's not? Okay, so it's definitely one of these then. The victim, your Guildenstern, where Virgil Black as a lady prosecutor stated. So literally that presents something on one of these statements, but it's so vague that it's gonna be weird to figure out then. Okay, so the one thing I'm thinking of could be that they make a point to point out that the woods are very quiet for Finnegan Hood, and he says he can hear anything. So, and since Virgil Black died from being stabbed in the lung, then strangled to death, then he should have heard that then, right? Well, that doesn't ring true then. Thinking about this way, could another reason to think that couldn't be Gladys because she's sort of an alibi for being at the scene chasing after the defendant as well, actually? Well, I mean, if they're blaming the defendant anyway, it's not gonna work either, but it's worth a shot. Nah, it didn't work either. I just want to try that, just in case. So, anything at all, anything. His injury cut his hand on a broken glass bottle. I mean, that's gotta come up here at some point, right? And I can only think that has something to do with, his daughter, so it's just another thing. How do we get to that point of actually saying it was, most likely if, he's trying to go this route of, trying to blame anyone, he's just trying to, redirect or make sure it's not going directed at his daughter at all. That's a big reason why he's doing this whole game. Which, yeah, I don't blame him for. So, just a matter of proving one way or another, finding a loose thread of yarn and unraveling this entire thread of logic then. Okay, the victim near Guildenstern were Virgil Black, as the lady prosecutor stated. What about this? This is the thing this is to help advance it. We're supposed to focus on the victim even though we already know he died here? What? The description of Mr. Black sounds very off. What made you so afraid of him? Are you talking about how, personality-wise, this made him off? I already explained in the reason of how that could have been. That was, one of my points. He didn't elaborate that well. Honestly. He was obviously, threatening people even before this. Even innocent people. It's not too far-fetched. Don't go down this rabbit hole, Phoenix. Your description of Mr. Black sounds very off. What made you so afraid of him? Well, he were a serial murderer, wasn't he? How did you know that? You couldn't even identify him at the time. I didn't recognize him in the moment, but some people just have a spooky demeanor. Oh, vibes. The bad vibes, dude. Not this man at that moment. You claim the man was standing, shouting, and being intimidating. These all seem very strange. Not really. If you're provoked, you would do the same? Mr. Black's autopsy states he'd already been stabbed in the lung. Wasn't fatal. Literally, if we're going to the fact that I'm, Phoenix. Finnegan Hood could have, left before the actual crime happened, as he mentioned before, then came back the next day and found the body in the grave. He wasn't there at the time it happened. I literally tried to bring this fact up too. He must have heard, the crime happened, but that wasn't a thing either, so. If you're stunned along, wouldn't you find it hard to speak that at all, much less shout? If anything, he should have been lying on the ground, gasping for breath. What do you say this suggests? If Mr. Hood's memories are correct, there's only one conclusion to draw, that he didn't see the actual time of the crime. It was not Mr. Black that he saw. That's a stretch. The victim was buried at precisely that spot. Who else could it have been? Honestly, it could have been anybody. Anybody? Why do we assume nobody else could pass through the area? Nobody has claimed to have seen the moment of death. Yeah, but you're just stretching this thin because, okay. The witness has yet to give a satisfactory description of who he saw. Objection. No, I haven't. Okay, sorry. If the body were the following day, somebody killed a man. Okay, I already lost his voice. Oh my god. Somebody. Mr. Black couldn't do any shouting, so who do you see? It must have been another man who hadn't been stabbed. He must be suspect too. Hey, there's a beauty? Okay, finally, good. A man who might be the killer. Do you suppose he's also the killer of Rosencrantz too? It might be Mr. Ursarian. The prosecution is fine with our original theory. The witness saw the defendant instead. The ambiguity is killing me. Oh, that did absolutely nothing then, either. Wow, what a circular waste of time. Okay, that was not the thing to do. I'm actually glad that was not the way to progress it. I'm so glad about. What was that whole thing about? Like, that didn't. I didn't understand how that makes sense. Even make it as like it's an actual contradiction, but not really so contradiction. I didn't understand that part. Okay, back to time searching me go. Okay, this is another weirdy one. I heard their voices earlier and went to check out who is in the woods. I mean, like, the thing here to point is this. You couldn't hear those voices from your home. It simply wasn't possible. Excuse me? What makes you say that? Sound troubles in the forest? Yes, but hearing human voices over a kilometer? I don't think so. Kilometer? This is not America. What are we talking about? That's the distance from his house to the crime scene. And if they were screaming, they need megaphones for him to hear them. You like walking. Aye, the distance is far. The two must have passed by me home. I followed the noise till they stopped by the bush. Are you sure? That goes against what you said earlier. Heard the voices in the woods and went to check. Just follow the trail till they got there. They're already in the woods, according to you at least. Yeah, literally based on how he said it, he could still, he still implied that they passed by his house. That's the impression I got the entire time. They went into the entrance of the woods, and when they were walking away, he heard them talking, and he just followed after them because of it. What are you driving at? Simple. Mr. Hood wasn't where he says he was. I found the body and gave you the testimony, so I saw something. You think I'm lying? Just say it. Where do you think I was? Like, where do you think I was? Like, I assume by the grave because you were looking over it, actually? You were already right where you said you were. The crime scene. Ha! That's what this outburst is for? I could've told you that. That's right. He was in the woods the entire time. Okay. Oh, he's in there the entire time for some reason, then. Order? Witness, were you out there even before you heard the voices? Aye, I was in the woods. Then you lied! How dastardly! Lying is so bad! You never did it! You never should! No. Just confused events is all. It was all a month ago, having a right hard time piecing together in me mind. He just forgot. That'll be it, lass. Don't you worry, it'll come back as we speak. Your alibi is that you were inside with Jane. You were? I told her to stay put inside and she did. Can't really remember why I left the house, but it wasn't out for long. I came right back after seeing what I did. Jane was still there. There wasn't enough time to go all the way out and back and commit a murder. Ask her. And the same thing with actually digging a grave. Unless we're gonna bring the fact that it was an accomplice, which that's gonna be a whole other can of worms, so I'm on now. I see. Nicole, make a note of this. You sneaky. How'd you get out of that one? Mr. Something just struck me. Actually, that'd be a good time to leave us off. Like, I feel like we had to present both those. If we had to present those two contradictions that we continue forward, I guess it makes more sense. Just he spins it all around to make sure it's not him, because he's definitely slippery. He has a knack for it. But if we're going with the fact he has an alibi, and he's obviously, if his daughter was out there, if we didn't kill anyone, the reason why he would lie about his daughter being there, there must be some doubt in his mind that his daughter might have killed someone. So maybe he was the one that buried the body and all that. But that again explains how someone else knew about that fact. I guess it means that I guess maybe Jane was out there already for some reason. Oh, and Finnegan Hood was out there looking for his daughter to bring back home, since it was that late at night. And then she found a random stranger in the woods. And then maybe that wasn't exactly. I'm trying to think of a way either way, it could have been the actual real culprit who was burying the body itself, or literally actually Jack Black themselves. Well, Virgil Black, sorry. Not Jack Black. Not the actor, no. So then Jane killed him, if we're presuming that. Then the two of them spent the time to bury the body, and then they faked an alibi whenever this came up. But that gives the question of, if the victim, the person that Jane met, definitely was Virgil Black that she killed and buried, that would not leave a reason as to why someone else found the body itself. Actually behind some bushes a kilometer, who knows how much distance away from my American brain out from the house, behind some bushes into a grave. So that must have been someone else, and there was a scuffle, and maybe Jane thought she killed them or maybe something like that and ran away, and then the next day they came back and then buried the body. They're just a bit too spooked to realize whether or not it was actually the victim herself or not. That's the running theory so far, running either way. Honestly, like, if we're going with that idea that it was Jane out there as the woman there, and actually if it was Jane, it only makes sense if the person that they met definitely was not Virgil Black, because then that wouldn't explain, I guess, the whole thing with everything else. The shovel being like the murder weapon, unless they really want to frame Alan Yossarian somehow, in some way, shape, form. Because definitely, like, it would be really weird to leave this game as a weird cliffhanger, like, no, the true culprit was definitely not from the Valley's gang at all, unless the kid really is from Valley's gang. He's a covert spy, but it's all speculation. I definitely mostly think that Jane definitely was there, but like misbelieves that she killed someone. That leads explains all Mr. Hood's actions here, circling around and circling around and circling around. That's the only way I can put it. But we'll figure out if I'm right about this or not for next time. So, for fun time watches, I am Planets. Hope you see me next time, what time may be. And I'll hope you fantastic day.